Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. It's time for the breakdown. Arsenal 2 wins in two clean sheets. It seems to be a little different since the international break. We're going to get into it. Let's do this. Yes, welcome back, people. It's your boy, it's Gumsa. It's the breakdown show. I've got a special guest today, Mr. King. What we saying, bro?
What's going on, my G? What's going on?
All good, man. I'm here. So yeah, we and Chris will be missing for a minute or two. So only right we come back on a second show together today. How's things? Everything all right?
Yeah, man. All good, man. All good. It's good to be back. So yeah, just getting back into the swing of things. Obviously, the second stream today after we did our roundup player rating show earlier. So yeah. Keen to get back into the swing of things. So yeah, man, it's great to be on your show as well, man.
No, I appreciate you. So again, I've done the court a few times. Again, we always get into some in-depth conversations. Like, I love your analysis and your tactical insight of things. So yeah, for me, it's no better guest to have on. Do you know what I mean? And today's show. So a few weeks ago, I spoke about Bellerin on one of my shows. It was the dilemma of the right back. It wasn't just about Bellerin; it was about all four of them at the time: Maitland-Niles, Cedric, Chambers, and Bellerin. As you know from end of last season, I haven't been happy with the right back situation. And we addressed it. Something I think needed addressing, we've addressed it. And there seems to be I know it's only 2 games, but it seems to be a difference. So what was your first thoughts when you saw his link with Tomiyasu?
When we were first linked to Tomiyasu, I mean, I've watched him. I've watched him play for Bologna. I've sat here. I've got all the sports channels. I watch. Last night I was watching Juventus. I was watching PSG after all the England games, man. Like on the weekends, since I moved into my new flat, I'm chilling. Man's watching the 5 European leagues. So yeah, I've watched him, and he looks good. He played quite a lot as a centre back. More recently, obviously, switched to playing as a right fullback. He's played in a back three. Both as an auxiliary kind of right-sided centre back, as well as like a wing back and a fullback in a back four. He's even played on the left as well. So a very versatile defender. I think what stands out for me is his defensive qualities, man. Like he likes to get stuck in interceptions, tackles. He's got pace as well. He likes to get across people midway through their stride when they're running with the ball. That's something he's very good at. Very strong, very good at showing people down the line. He's an imposing defender as well. Quite tall and good in the air as well.
Definitely. I think
I was happy to be linked with him. I know to a lot of people it looked like a panic buy, and we probably did have other options and other things that we were trying to do, and we just kind of gone, well, we'll get him. But I don't think it was a panic buy per se. I think it's like we had a dossier of X amount of players in each position, and we've gone, of the players that we've looked at in this position and where we're at now, based on the business that we've done and what we've got left with what we can do, this is the one we're going to get. But because we left it so late, it looked like a panic thing. But I don't think it was. There was scouting been involved, man. Like,
I agree with you. I think you never know what's true in the papers and stuff, is it? You never know who he's really going for. Again, it could be financially is the reason why we went for Tomiyasu over, say, a Max Aarons. Obviously, the woman Emerson Royale went for a similar price. So I think that was where a lot of the comparisons come. It was like we wanted him, and then obviously Tottenham went and got him. But I do think the makeup of the player is maybe more the reason why we went for him. it was no surprise. Well, it was a bit of a surprise when Chambers come in and started ahead of all the right backs last season. And you look at Chambers, as in he's very similar mold to Tomiyasu, where quite big for a right back. Defensively, he's stronger defensively than he is going forward.
Absolutely.
So was that maybe the signs that was the style right back we wanted? Again, Chambers is someone who can play in central midfield, centre back. So is that something maybe we was looking at? Is that why Chambers, do you reckon, got the nod ahead of the others? Because there's an element we're going to touch on later. And I'm not going to spoil it now for the fans, but we'll touch on it later. And I think maybe that might have an element of why we was going for Tomiyasu rather than a more dynamic right back who's probably better going forward or a bit quicker, or do you know what I mean, better in the final third. But I said I'm very happy with the signing. This is the signing I said I think would be probably had the strongest seasons out of everyone. Something about him, as soon as I saw him, I was like, actually, he's probably one that's going to go under the radar, but he's just going to be a good, solid right back for us. Something we can build off. So I'm very happy with the signing, I'll be honest. And I think it's probably, sometimes you've got to sort the defensive problems first, haven't you? And be solid first, and it gives you a platform to build. And I think that's what he brings. He's very young as well. He doesn't play like a 22-year-old.
No.
Nothing about him looks 22, does it, when you see him? So yeah, like I feel it's a step in the right direction. We're going to go into this first, just a bit of kind of recap on his game on the weekend. Big thing that stands out, obviously, is the first two: 100 aerial duels won and 100 duels won, and this is against Burnley.
Yeah.
So yeah, another team you might not read too much into that, but this is against Burnley, who are notorious for, do you know what I mean, balls going into the box, long throws. You look at the game against Brentford, we conceded from a long throw. Now, do you know what I mean? Not saying one person changes that, but actually he could make a difference. Just, do you know what I mean? Even we've all played football. If the centre back's got the striker, you'll be telling right back, get on his toes. Now him in front instead of Cedric is a big difference. You know what I mean? So that definitely helps. The most touches, which again, it's impressive, playing at right back. 5 total duels, and again, he won 100% of those against a strong physical team. 5 recoveries, 5 clearances, 4 aerial duels, 1 interception, and 1 tackle. So without reading too much into stats, because I think it is bigger than stats, sometimes just being in the right area might stop a pass coming your direction, or if someone knows he's not going to get a beating of you, he might not run at you, he might just turn and pass the ball back. So all those things come into account, and you can't really see that by stats. But Dwight McNeil plays on that left side, and he's very good. And
I think he played on the right, but the Cornet guy played on the
left. Yeah, so when Cornet come on, and
Cornet's very good as well, man.
Yeah, and he kept both relatively quiet. I think he held his own out there. So yeah, what do you reckon of these stats that are up here?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, obviously, you know, the duels part is impressive, right? And look, you know, Young Boys and United came up, whilst I was away, and the Wan-Bissaka conversation, right? Yeah. The thing that United fans, and I'm not digging them out, I'm not slandering them, I'm just pointing this out, the thing that United fans say about Bissaka, he's the best one-on-one defender in the world at the moment. But defense is about more than being a one-on-one defender. Now, you look at those duels that he won, 5, but he only made 1 tackle. Yeah. What I pointed out to these United fans is that it's Maldini that said this, Maldini famously has gone on record and he has said, if I have to make a tackle, I already know I've made a mistake. And you see when Bissaka got sent off the other day, is because the thing about one-on-one situations is tackles is a game of percentages. You can go in for a tackle and be very good at making tackles, but no matter how good you are at making tackles, some are going to go awry. You're going to mistime the tackle. The player's going to dribble around you, and then once you've committed to making the tackle, if you miss it and that player's in behind you, you're stuffed. You miss it and you mistime it and you take the player out, and you get a yellow, or you get too many of those, or you get a red, you're stuffed. Yeah. So what I'm seeing there is, of the 5 duels that he's won, only 1 has come from making a tackle. The rest, is obviously interceptions in other ways. So you got 1 interception there. Winning his other duels shows that his anticipation is obviously very good. That's the point I'm trying to get to here, because he's not relying on having to intercept or tackle. You know, he's obviously relying on anticipation and body strength and body feinting and other ways in which you can win a duel. This is the thing about defending. You can win a ball with more ways than tackling. You can jockey, you know, you've got so many different defensive techniques. I wasn't a defender, by the way, but obviously when you're an attacker and you have to study, if you're a defender, you have to study attacking movements. If you're an attacker, you have to study what defenders use to negate your strengths. And what you're seeing here from these numbers and what I saw from the game is I wasn't seeing him throwing tackles in left, right, and center. I wasn't seeing people getting on the other side of him. I wasn't seeing people getting past him. And that was what I think. This is what separates good from great defenders. You know, the ones, you know, that as a last resort are tackling, you know, and the anticipating where the ball's going, and that you're not getting past whilst they stay on their feet. So that they can basically, you know, if they can adjust to situational changes within the phase of that transitional play. Do you see what I mean?
And do you know, just to touch on what you're saying, again, I wasn't expecting you to go into that much detail, and it's absolutely brilliant. This is exactly what I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about, and I don't really want to say it out loud on live TV, but we were having a discussion about who's the best right back ever in the Premiership. And I couldn't argue. And actually, by the end of it, thinking about it, I had to agree. I think Azpilicueta might actually be the best right back we've ever seen. And what you're saying there is very true. He doesn't get beat really one-on-one. And it doesn't mean he's winning tackles, but what he's doing, he's slowing you down. He's stopping the space in behind. And he's putting you in a position where you're thinking, actually, I can't get past him. I need to turn back and pass it. And I watched the Arsenal game, Arsenal-Chelsea the other week, and Saka got no joy out of him. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't give you and again, he doesn't always win the duel, but what he does, he stops you going forward, or he stops you getting in behind him. And actually, that is sometimes enough to deter, or even to slow you right down, so I could get another player to come and double up with me. Or, do you know what I mean? Just those little things there. And I don't know if you saw the show a few weeks ago. And I don't know if you saw the show a few weeks ago. There was a couple of still images of Chelsea's goal against us, and it was Xhaka came back in, and then he slid, and he missed the ball, and it was a 3-on-3 if he stays on his feet, and it from a 3-on-3 to a 3-on-2. That meant a Tierney had to adjust to come in, which then meant Reece James was on the blind side, and he was in and scored. And if Xhaka just stayed on his feet and gone with the run, it would have left Tierney to be able to stay where he was, and defensively we might have coped with it. We might not have, but it would have given us more chance. Once he went, now it's 3 against 2, and the two centre-backs the two defenders had no chance. So what you're saying is very true. It's not all about Wan-Bissaka is fantastic in the tackle, very, very good. But actually, it's stopping it at source, isn't it? And actually allowing the rest of your team to recover. Because get your pass off, but actually we're in a good shape now, and you've got to break us down again, and that's very important.
This is why when Maldini said those words, they stuck with me. I remember that I was literally I was a child. I was a child when he said this, and I knew I was in trouble, when I was facing defenders that weren't just because the whole idea of when you're a winger, you're trying to commit the defenders to do just that, so you can suck him in
and then beat him,
beat him, and then boom, then that's it, That's what you are depending on, But when you come across those ones that like can really kind of just drop their shoulder and just kind of just back off you, but they're not backing off you, but they're making you go where they want you to go. They're showing you down the line. They're waiting, like you said, for backup so that you can. They're waiting for their other defenders and midfielders to get back into shape, so that even if you do beat them, and then it's like then they look around, then it's like right, everyone's where they need to be. Now I can try and stop.
Now I can engage a bit more.
Them ones are the longest, and these are the vibes I'm getting from Tomiyasu, like where he's defending intelligently. He does have that athleticism. He does have that ability to tackle and win duels, but it's about knowing when to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And how to do it. Which holistic tool, from your kit that you're going to use in different situations to be good defensively, rather than just being like, I'm a good one-on-one defender who's very good at tackling. So I'm just gonna, if you get past me, I'm gonna tackle you.
Yeah. Because again, it only takes for someone to be faster than you. When they beat you, now you can't recover. And I mean, your first things first is actually, as I say to my boys, as you know, coach, if you can see their number, or if you're goal side of them, you're safe. Really, not safe, but you're in the right position. Moment they're goal side of you, forget about it. Do you know what I mean? You're in the wrong position. So yeah, it's very much about actually being in the right areas. So no, it was brilliant. We're going to move on to another slide. This is just a bit of a comparison. I've removed Maitland-Niles because it seems like we're not looking at him as a right back no more. Like he's firmly in the centre midfield position. We've added Bellerin, and these are his numbers from his Real Betis 2 games he's played over there. So let's bring this one up. So I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Some of it's quite similar. All of them have played 2 games, with Cedric having half a game of substitute appearance. Minutes are all quite similar, although Tomiyasu's played the least. Again, we kind of scroll down. Shot game, I'm not really interested in that. His pass percentage was the one that surprised me. He had the lowest pass percentage. And for me, it seems like the tidiest. But then, as me and you touched on earlier, is this because he's maybe trying riskier passes, forward passes? So another example, I think it's Bruno Fernandes had one of the worst passing percentages in Premiership last season, but his impact was a lot higher. And De Bruyne is quite similar. They have lower passing percentages, but actually what they're attempting to do with the pass is a lot more threatening and a lot more risky. So it's that balance. Don't want to read too much into that. But at the same time, is it because he's maybe trying to pass and gets out rather than playing safe and going back into the centre back and letting them make the mistake? So what do you think of that? You worried about his pass completion, or do you think that's just an element of the style player he is?
I think so. I think it's a bit of both. Like I wouldn't say I'm worried about it. I think what you've got to look into is he plays on the right side with Ben White. And I think that side is the side that is delegated more to transitioning the ball forward. Gabriel is probably not seen as comfortable a forward passer as the likes of Ben White and Tomiyasu. So in defensive situations, when the ball breaks down, the ball was going to those two and they were being tasked with distributing the ball forward. Now, that can be a simple 5-yard pass into your central midfielder. But if you're using Thomas Partey and he's the single pivot behind 2 more advanced 8s in ESR and Odegaard, as opposed to a 4-2-3-1, where you've got 2 deeper pivots that can both drop back and give you options to make a simple pass or create a passing lane by showing for the ball to make the angle for the other one, then if you've only got a singular pivot, the ball is either up the line or it's across to the other fullback. Those are going to be mid or longer range passes. And if you're playing a percentage game with mid and longer range passes more frequently, your pass percentage isn't going to be as high. Unless you are elite, and I mean, even the elites of the elites aren't going to do that. Your 5 and your 10-yard passes are always going to be much higher in percentiles than your mid and your longer range ones. And I think tactically, the way Arteta is setting Tierney up, as we're going to see.
Hold on, we're going to run to there. Yeah.
And I think that's what it is like Tierney's the one that's staying higher. So those passes are going across. Rather than going from one midfielder to the next to get to Tierney, it's like that's where the counter's going to come from.
Yeah,
that quick switch, bam.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, when you're hitting those diags, your percentage might drop a bit, but the risk reward of that, the reward of it, can be Tierney in behind, and you got an overload. With whoever's playing on the left.
Yeah. This is what you're saying as well about playing out from the right-hand side. Ben White obviously plays inside of him. And he had the most touches. So that could be an element of Burnley setting up their press for us to go through the right back. And also Arsenal trusting the right-hand side to say, they're the ball players, we're going to go through that side. So I think it goes hand in hand. I definitely do. But again, I think we were quite comfortable. I did notice a few times he come inside on the left foot, and rather than not singling out Bellerin, but Bellerin is very, very used to going back to the centre back. Where I still see Tomiyasu play a lot into Partey and a lot into Smith Rowe. And again, sometimes that pass completion could be because he's going into Smith Rowe and he's got the defender tight on him, and they might nick in front of Smith Rowe. So sometimes it might not actually be the bad pass. It might just be Smith Rowe could be on his heels, or it could be anything. You know what I mean? The player gets in front. But I did see him pass inside a lot. I also saw him switch the ball to Tierney about 3 times in that game. Some good balls over the top, and he's equally comfortable left foot and right foot. So I think we are going to see more of him in that position. Let me we go back to the screen. The next one, the one that stands out the most to me, it must stand out to everybody the most, is the aerials one. Cedric 0.3, Chambers 1, Bellerin 1, and Tomiyasu 5 aerial duels 1. That is a big, big difference.
Big difference. And he's played the least amount of minutes out of all of them as well. So
yeah. So to me, yeah,
against a team that sets up with a strength and a depthness.
It's not like he's playing against a United who might not have the big players up there. Do you know what I mean? He's playing against Burnley, who that's what they're relying on. Do you know what I mean? Their strikers are going to peel onto the wing backs and then diags into them because they're going to target your wing back area. So they're going to go for the big against small matchup, and he handles himself well. And this is 2 games in a row where I think he's won every header that he's gone up for. And again, even with set pieces, that's going to help massively because sometimes we are a bit weak on set pieces. Those things there make a big difference to me. So yeah, sorry, we're just going to get to some comments. Let's have a look. We got DWTT. How you doing, sir? I hope everything's all right. I'm loving that picture you got there, Mr. Ian Wright. The good old days.
The idol, man. The guy that made me, the guy that came to Iron Man.
Exactly that. Silver Fox is just chimed in. He said Tomiyasu has made more forward passes, I believe. And yeah, that probably is the difference. And sometimes they do have an effect on your completion rate. But for me, it's positive signs. TT's made more forward passes this season. Yep, so there it is. Don't you believe what your eyes saw on the weekend? We've seen Bellerin and it didn't seem like what I saw on Saturday. Give me more of that. It should only get better, right? Yeah. And this is where I was championing him for a long time, saying about the right back situation is a massive problem for Arsenal. I know you was heavy on the central midfield in the 10, and I centre midfield and right back were my 2 real problem areas.
I wanted all 3 done. Don't get it twisted.
I know you did. You wanted a lot. By the time you're saying get eight players, and I did agree. Like we were short, but it just shows you. Don't get me wrong. I know it's only Norwich. I know it's only not this being disrespectful to those teams, but Norwich and Burnley isn't your Chelsea and City that we had to play at the start of the season. However, just the little differences. Do you know what I mean? I always go back to when we were a kid. What's the first thing you get told? Win your individual battles. Now I'm looking at these numbers from Tomiyasu, and he's winning his individual battle. So regardless if he has a great game going forward, gets 3 wonderful crosses in, first things first, you're not beating me this way. So it gives you a platform. Again, we could go for a season winning 1-0 and you win the league. Do you know what I mean? So actually clean sheets are just as important as good flowing attacking football and being creative in the final third and the rest of it. So I'm agreeing with you, DWTT. I was happy with what I saw, and long may it continue. And we echoed this earlier. Arsenal's attack didn't look good, but showed potential, accurate passing and on-time passing. Hopefully mistakes are reviewed and improvements are coming. So if you watched the reaction show earlier, we spoke about this. It was point blank show. Again, the defense scored very highly earlier. It was the attacking areas which let us down a little bit. But as I said, the fact we was getting in them areas is an improvement. 2 weeks ago, we wasn't getting in them areas. So actually, you could see the massive difference. To the eye test, for me, this was being our best game for a long time, I think. There's games we scored more goals, but it wasn't fluent. This actually seemed quite fluent to me. So I feel there's light at the end of the tunnel. Whether it's with Arteta, we don't know, but we're definitely the players we got at the moment. I'm a lot happier with going forward. And Steve F has said TT will help Pepe as well.
I really want to hone in on as well.
Take it away, you go.
I agree with this because you know what you said throughout the summer as well, which I know you agree with. Pepe is the sort of player, that if he is allowed the freedom to camp higher up the pitch, to stay in the opposition's third more, this now in turn, last season, Pepe was having to drop deeper to help in defensive situations and to receive the ball because of A, the deficiencies of the defense in progressing the ball to him, and B, the deficiencies of the defenders in one-on-one situations. So what that means is then when you are transitioning quickly from defense to attack, Pepe's starting position is too deep. Yeah. And instead of having one player to beat or one situation that he's got to navigate to get into the box or to get to the byline and make a cross, he's got one or two or three. Like Pepe at his most dangerous, right? If you look at the Chelsea game, the friendly, the pre-season game that we played, when Willock got the goal that should have counted. Conga literally looked up without thinking, just clipped the ball over the top, It's gone over their left back's head, and Pepe is on the other side, like you just said, he is goal side of their fullback. With the ball in the air coming down to him, he brings the ball down with his good first touch, and then that fullback is like, I am on the wrong side of the wrong man to be on the wrong side of. That is Pepe at his best. So then what Pepe does is he looks at the man, and the man's like, is he going to go down onto the wing? He's on his right foot, so he's probably going to cut back into his left foot. He knows what he's going to do, but because he's got that extra space where he's already behind him, knowing what he's going to do doesn't matter. He checks back into the box. He crosses it to Willock on the floor. Willock gets his shot off. The last season with Bellerin, with Chambers, or with Cedric, and also with the midfielders that we had that weren't doing what Lokonga did in that instance, looking up first time to make that pass behind when he's in that space, and not having a fullback that allows him to be that much higher up the pitch, meant that he weren't in those situations anywhere near enough. So when people are saying we need to get a new winger, you could look at it like that. You can get a winger that can play in a system that can receive the ball in deeper areas and then beat two or three men or whatever. Or you could look at the winger that you've got and said, how do I help this guy? How do I help this guy play to his strength? How do I get this guy in those positions more? Getting Tomiyasu and getting Lokonga. I know this isn't a midfield show today,
Nah, it's all good.
But Tomiyasu can progress the ball forward better. And if Pepe is caught high up the pitch in those one-on-one situations, you're more confident in him to be able to come out on top of those. So he's more confident in him being able to be left there one-on-one with a fullback or a winger getting on the other side of him. Pepe can push forward more, and he can find those spaces, and he can be in those positions more often. And the more often he is in those positions when you're playing a percentage game, the more often he's going to be in a position to create a goal or score a goal. Yeah,
definitely. I love how you wrap that one up. So, Steve, we're both in agreement with you here. We do feel as well Tomiyasu will help Pepe and help the team. And one thing I noticed, we seemed more press resistant on Saturday. Burnley came at us at the start. They would have took courage from watching Brentford press the life out of us. And slowly but surely they thought, we can't keep doing this because they're just bypassing us very quickly. Whether it was Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, centre-backs going into Odegaard. Odegaard progressed the ball really well for me. And we looked a lot more press resistant. And by the end of the first half, you could see Burnley weren't pressing us the same. They were sitting off a little bit more. They're coming, but they're not going with that 100% press, trying to get our heads down. They was allowing us to kind of keep it in areas. Because again, this is why Ben White had the ball for 6-7 seconds at a time looking for something, because actually Burnley weren't looking to try and rob him no more because they knew it was a problem if they did. So yeah, these are all the benefits of having these boys that are comfortable on the ball. And that goes from the keeper all the way to them attacking players, because, yeah, not being harsh or criticising others, I do feel Tomiyasu's better on the ball than the other three we had in right back. Ben White is more comfortable than Holding. Lokonga or Odegaard playing next to Partey is more comfortable than Xhaka or El Nene. So all them things help massively. We're going to move on to our last image. We're going to be trying to wrap up in the next few minutes, but this one's quite telling for me. You know, you was going to touch on it earlier. We wanted to save the surprise for this moment. But it's looking at his heat map compared to Kieran Tierney's. And we'll touch on the difference this makes rather than... Let's just show it first. So both of them, the defense is on the left hand and the attack is on the right. I'm not sure if he's pointing, but you can see it. So if you look where Tomiyasu's kind of the most red is in the defensive right back position. And if you look at Tierney's, his is high up the pitch. And this is what we was touching on earlier. If we're playing out from the right, so Tomiyasu sits in and Tierney's allowed the freedom to go nice and high in order to try and get him on the ball in them areas. So, yeah, this isn't just by chance. It's not a first half and second half, so we was defending hard for the first half and the second half we released. This is average position, and you can see where Tomiyasu's playing and where you can see where Tierney's looking to play. And for me, that's quite telling. What it screams out to me actually as well is, even if you look at Tomiyasu's, his is not centrally, but there's a nice orange spell in that middle area where you'd expect your right centre back to be. So is this a case of he might be a bit more inverted at times? So when the ball is up the pitch, does he come in almost like a right centre back, which then allows Ben White to go into the central and Gabriel almost like a left back? So rather than before, do you remember Xhaka used to drop into the left back and let Tierney bomb? Now is it a case of actually it's going to be those three would transition into the other three centre backs? So you get two centre backs and the right back would make a three in order for Tierney to go, and we build from there. So what's your thoughts on that?
Exactly that. You know, exactly as you described it. You know, I think they've looked at the strengths of the two. You know, Tierney is a very balanced fullback, by the way. You know, I think what he offers defensively isn't too dissimilar to what he offers going forward, but he's probably a bit better going forward. But not by much. There's not a massive gulf there. Tierney's an anomaly, man. This is what people need to understand about him. But you want him going forward. You want him in those situations. You want him creating overloads on the left-hand channel, and you want him linking up play and offering an outlet for the midfield to be able to play off in order to, you know, our wingers or our wide players aren't really wingers. You know, they come inside. They're narrow players. You know, when Smith Rowe plays on the left channel, he's not a left winger. He's like an advanced playmaker that's playing on the inside left channel. You know, like, so, you know, what you've got then is Tierney overlapping him on the other side or underlapping him and then Smith Rowe drifting out or vice versa. And what that does is that confuses the hell out of the fullback and the centre back. What they're doing is they're manipulating the defenders, you know, the inside centre back and the fullback. They're pulling them out of position, and the idea is that then in turn creates space for Aubameyang to float into behind whatever one they've pulled out of position. So this is all very important to how we play going forward. It's very important in how we are trying to get Aubameyang or Lacazette or whoever it is playing up top on the ball more. It's all connected. This is what people need to realize, you know, like the modern game, no game of football, even the less modern game, is not played in silos. It's not like you defend, you're in midfield, you attack. All of the movements, you know, like intrinsically are linked, you know, of all the 11 players. So Tierney getting forward on that side is probably when Tomiyasu sits. You know, if Tierney really goes forward and we suddenly caught on the transition with the ball coming in the other direction, then Gabriel's left-footed. He can drift out and then it becomes a free till Tierney gets back. You can even experiment with different formations there where the three of them actually start as centre-backs in those positions, and Tierney could be a wing-back, and you could have Maitland-Niles as a wing back. Now, if you look at system, it's going to get a bit techie, but obviously City's system with Cancelo, he goes from being a right wing back to an auxiliary central midfielder where he will make a diag inside into the midfield. And that allows other midfielders that start more centrally, your Gundogan's and your Kevin De Bruyne's, to push forward or to drift into channels or to do both, you know, like, so what I've just explained there is just many ways in which Tomiyasu's strengths can be utilized to get the best out of Tierney. Tierney would love to be in a wing back situation, in a back five, where he's told, you know what, don't even worry about having to come too far back, you know, but obviously not saying don't track your man.
No.
The difference is, you know, when the ball's coming towards you, you don't have to come flat where you're in line with the centre backs, you know, because you can win the ball. And then when we can transition it forward quickly again, you're already a bit further forward and you've got a head.
It's a bit like we're saying with Pepe, isn't it? Tierney is our release.
That's it.
You saw it in the first 5 minutes on Saturday. He got in behind and he put a wicked ball off, and then I can't remember who had the shot. It come off Pepe. And Tierney's been doing that for us since he's come. Do you know what I mean? But actually, he's taking a bit of pressure off him. That actually, do you know what I mean? Look at that. Before, Tierney his heat map would probably be solid red all on that left side, but now it's very much focused in that higher up area. So it's probably taking a bit of pressure off him. And I'll tell you what, Tavares also looks like a very, very good attacking left back. So
exactly
Tomiyasu thing, I think he's going to really complement both fullbacks on the left hand side. He's just offering great balance. And again, we're not speaking too soon. It is 2 games, but it's just given me anyway a lot more belief in the way we play, because you saw my mood in pre-season. I was happy up until a point and I just went flat.
What I'm happy with is, look, they're going to make mistakes because they're all ridiculously young.
All under 24.
But what I can see as a system, you know, like as I've just described one system that they used against Burnley, I've just described 1 or 2 other ones that can be used based on the strengths of what they've got. You know, like, you know, you could even, to describe another one, you could put Saka as the right wing back instead of Maitland-Niles, and then it turns into a back 4. And then he's becoming another midfielder, but instead of darting inside diagonally, he's going outside of Pepe. Imagine that. If you want to attack people, but if you want to say play against a City or a Chelsea, but you've got Saka starting, you know, because Saka can be quite up and down.
Very much so.
Get up and down the flanks, and he can do a bit defensively. But when you haven't got the ball, it suddenly turns into a back 4 where Tomiyasu is the right back again, and Saka is just overloading with Pepe, and you've got 2 almost wide players on that side that are just doubling up on fullback.
And it's now one to come inside, one to go out. If football is about movement, it is very much about movement now. And
there you go.
Exploiting space that I'm dropping in here to create space behind there for you to go and exploit, and you need to be unselfish with your runs. It just gives us a few more options. And again, I think the main thing is we are here to play out from the back now, and he definitely brings a bit more stability and just confidence. I think the new signers have just brought a bit more confidence in actually let's play out from the back and we can be a bit more press resistant. Last comment, Mr. B, good to see smiles. Yeah, we're happier. We're happier at the moment. Appreciate you jumping in, Mr. B, as well. Always got time and love for you, man. So
we need more goals, no doubt. But I think
that comes off the back the defense. I'm telling you, like, not even the side of the play or them not getting involved, but actually once we start thinking, oh, we're actually defending better, we can now move forward 5 yards, which will make all the difference. And as I said, we got into more attacking areas. We might have had less shots against. I think Norwich, we had quite a lot of shots. We might have had less shots this weekend. Actually, we was in a lot.
Norwich 7 on target.
That to me, that was like Burnley. Burnley had quite a lot of shots, but nothing really troubled us. But I'm seeing a bit more movement. I think there were so many times the pass was just a bit off, and it would have created havoc if it was just perfect. So, yeah, it's steps in the right direction. And again, if you're an attacking player, you played higher up the pitch. I've done a little bit up there. When you know your defense ain't leaking or they're solid or do you know what I mean, they're compact, all of a sudden it just fills you with confidence. Like I haven't got to keep doing that because actually they're not going to deal with it, and I could just worry about this end. Do you know what I mean? So it's a step in the right direction. I do think attacking line is going to thrive.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I was that Pepe kind of guy. I wanted one man to beat, and I wanted to just be receiving the ball when they're looking at me and thinking, "Oh dear, this is not where I want to be."
It's not where I want to be. Yeah.
I can just run at them, you know, like.
I said the key to it is as well. You want the ball early, where what you don't want is 2 banks of 4. Do you know what I mean? That's when it turns into keep ball. So that transition has got to be quick and early, and we saw it. I haven't seen our front 3 running at defenders like that for a long time. I saw Pepe, Saka, Aubameyang, Smith Rowe all running, and it was just the last pass wasn't great. It was just a bit behind or a bit too slow. And I don't feel I've seen that for a long time. I've seen us build very slowly, left and right. I haven't seen much direct, and I actually saw a lot of direct play. And our free kick came from that. A ball into Saka, who got on the spin and went. And again, you leave the midfielder with no choice. I either got to take the foul or let you run at my centre backs. He took the foul, and Odegaard done what he had to do. Right, last comment before we jump off, because 40 minutes is a bit over what I wanted to do, but fans are underestimating Tomiyasu's attacking qualities. Ben White is an amateur. Let Tommy distribute from right back and goals will come. Time will tell. I do think he was asked to play a bit more defensive this weekend over than last. And again, that's just down to them slight adjustments when you're playing different teams. But no doubt we do think he has got attacking quality. And as I said, he's very good on both feet, and that makes such a difference.
I just want to say on Ben White as well, he needs a bit of defending, man. I think that's a bit. It's a bit harsh. Yeah. It's a bit harsh, but I said I'm happy where we're at. In the boys have kept 2 clean sheets. Another one coming up this weekend, and we got a game on Wednesday as well, haven't we? So it could be a good week. We could have let's not speak too soon, but it could be a good week again for Arsenal. And man, I'm happy. Looking forward to see what happens next. I think there's a couple of streams coming tomorrow, Wednesday. We got obviously pre-match and reaction to the Wimbledon game. We're going to have Gunslingers on Thursday. I think a couple of Tottenham guys from Paxton Road want to jump on a couple of streams of us. I don't know if they really want that smoke, but we'll see. North London Derby on Saturday. It's come at a good time, I think. We're on the ascend and Tottenham are doing Tottenham stuff. So, yeah. Do you remember all the talk that they were given about are we going to have a goal of the month this season? Last month we went through that. 2 games, 6 goals conceded, no goals. You know what? I put up a post earlier. Harry Kane ain't scored all season, but it's not being talked about because his name's not Pierre Aubameyang. But that's none of my business. Last time they won a derby away from home in the league, the 20th of November 2010.
Yeah, it might be. I think it's going to be a long day for them. I really do. I think this will be. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't normally look forward to these games of recent years, but I'm actually looking forward to this one. I feel, it's Kane and Son, but actually Kane just doesn't look interested at the moment, does he? And Son's always a threat. So, but let's not talk too much. Let's wait for them guys to get in so they can defend their team. But and them Dembele against Partey. It's gonna be a long day for some boy. I'm telling you. But last couple, great stream. Thank you, DWTT. And Fox is there. He's here for the smoke as well. So, we're going to say our goodbyes. Gunnar, appreciate you having you on, bruv. Great insight as always. Looking forward to this week's shows. I'm no doubt I'll probably see you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. I can't wait to see the trouble you start. I know you're always up to something. So, keep it going. And, we'll catch up hopefully Wednesday or so.
Yeah, man.
All right, love.
Take it easy.